Hey guys, good evening.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Nice to see you tonight,
Good
everyone.
evening. Juicy news, guys, coming your way. We can't wait.
Yeah, we're
Very
very
exciting day.
excited. Very excited. Looking forward to it. Anything much on the stream tonight, Andy?
What's that, sir?
Anything much on the stream tonight to catch people up on?
No, just do some basic news. Skip over fixtures. It's only going to be a 10-minute stream, isn't it?
Club by club and wrap it up.
Club by club, yeah. If you just don't go into fixtures.
Yeah,
No need.
yeah.
People can guess stuff. Just guess. It's a better game if you guess stuff,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Just set your team now and it'll be fine. No, we've got lots of exciting news tonight. Obviously, we've got the news about the Man United Middlesbrough game. Will Liverpool have a double game week in 13? We've got internationals. We've got League Cup. We've got new managers, transfers.
Oh,
We're gonna have to rush.
injuries. Yeah, let's get on with it.
Should we crack on?
Yeah, let's look at game week 10, guys. How did you all get on? I enjoyed it a lot. Game week 10. The Veron double at the end was very exciting.
Yeah, especially as a Veron captain.
Oh, mate, don't go into that.
Yeah,
It was a shocking week.
it's good.
You're ahead of James now as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm ahead of James for the rest of the season now. So, should we crack on through with it and get going?
Yeah, let's have a look. Game week 10.
Let's go for it. Right. So, guys, we're going to start off with a quick review of the game. We won't spend too long on it because we know there's other things that you would like to talk about. But it's good to cover it. So, Arsenal 2, Derby 0. Arsenal domination. Derby didn't manage a shot on target in the whole game. And as you can see, Thierry Henry was the most involved striker there for them. But Carney got man of the match with 2 shots on target out of 2. Oh, F
Very comfortable.
A little bit of echo. My goodness. Every week the same. Okay, hang on a second. Hopefully that helps. Right.
Is that okay?
Let's just make sure that that's working okay. Make sure it's in the stream. Here we go, stream within the stream. Every single week I was determined to avoid it this week, but there we go.
We even came on at 9:20 to try.
I know, we were so organised. Right, I'm going to keep going, and if there's still an echo, you guys can tell me. So that's Arsenal. Sounds much better.
Much
Great.
better.
Perfect.
Cool.
Man United obviously beat Bolton 2-1 with a late Veron double, which was exciting for me, as we've already talked about. Bolton only had 2 shots in the whole game, so they literally scored with their first attack, and then went very close straight away after, but that was it. Man United hit the woodwork 4 or maybe even 5 times.
Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
Bartes can't save anything either. Bartes is a terrible pick. Doesn't get save points. Doesn't get clean sheets.
Yeah. It's not
Avoid.
Not good.
Just go Seaman.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. Right, Southampton 3, Leicester 4. Oh man, echo still. Having some issues. It might be my very old laptop. This is just delaying the news for all you guys, so sorry about that. I've said it before, but literally, I'll take a photo.
Is it Dave, guys? Or is
It's me. It's me.
Echoing.
It's me. Right, hopefully that's a bit better again. Fingers crossed that holds up. Do let us know if it's still echoing. If not, I can always go back to the computer one. That's much better. Right. Fingers crossed. Thank you guys. Hopefully we can crack on now. Took us 12 minutes to start this week. Last week we're already doing better than that. So Southampton 3, Leicester 4. Late goals for Leicester again, just like they were in midweek. James Scowcroft getting 2, and in the whole game as a whole, Leicester were on top there, and Southampton really struggling. There we go.
See, David in the chat, David Strom saying, "Where was the storage gift?"
Oh yeah, so
and
David Strom, if you can email us ChampManFPL@gmail.com, then and send me the GIF as a file, I can use it. But I can't. The way we do the tweets, I can't use it unless I've got it. So if you email me the file of the GIF, we'll make sure we get it in there. You can see Dean Sturridge there, 9 shots in the game, 6 on target. That's massive.
Absolute bargain price.
Yeah, I'll have a quick look at Southampton. Some people got them. Anders Svensson very involved for them. Right, West Ham against Charlton. So West Ham, they do have a new manager. We'll be going through that on club by club, but they were much better in this game. As you can see, they really outplayed Charlton, but still unable to get a result off of them. Charlton, not too much going on for them as a team, as you can see. West Ham, there was heavy involvement for the front two of Canute and Di Canio, who, don't know what you think, Andy. I think they could still turn out to be good picks at some point in the season.
Yeah, I always think Canute's a good pick anyway. Decent price. He's always going to tick along with goals. And that game, I actually didn't know how unlucky they were in that game. But it looks like dominate and got unlucky, really.
Yeah, they hammered them.
Charlton clinical.
Yeah, someone said, what happened to Kevin Davis? I think he was just dropped. I think basically Luke Disable put out another excellent video this week, and I think basically James Beattie is considered to be a better player by the game. So if Davis has a poor game, he's always a constant threat, and Beattie played well and came in, so I'd expect to see Beattie play again.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised that Davis lasted this long.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
Beattie's a much better player.
Yeah, and Pahars as well, obviously. So Spurs here beating Villa 3-1. Again, a massive shots disparity between these two. We've got Rebroff, who was just everywhere in the commentary all the time there with a big involvement. Stefan Selakovic, the commentary gave him a specific pick out as well, saying he was creating a lot of 4 key passes, you can see there. So obviously playing in that number 10 role does make a huge difference to him. Whether he stays there or not is probably a little bit up for grabs. Villa, not much to report for them, I'm afraid. Gareth Barry continues to do a good job at the back. Chelsea 1, Blackburn 0. Again, total domination. I think Blackburn away looks like, if Blackburn are playing away, that's a real clean sheet game to target, I think. And you can see there, Mario Stanic quite involved from right wing back.
Yeah, I mean, Blackburn don't even try.
Yeah, Blackburn rubbish away.
Mm-hmm. Blackburn don't even try.
No, exactly.
Away from home.
Exactly, they don't try and score, they just try and get a 0-0. And there you go, nothing for Blackburn to report. Ipswich 2, Fulham 1. Defenders performing well again. Not a very exciting game, not very many chances. Ipswich seem to be pretty solid at the back. In terms of shots, Sahar got 3 shots away in the game, only got 1 on target. 2 key headers there. It's a bit unfortunate to come off on 60 minutes, probably, to be honest. Whether Marley comes back in, I think Marley's got 1 more game suspension, but it'll be. I think Sahar needs to bang this week to secure his place for Marley. And Ipswich-wise, not a huge amount there either. There wasn't a lot of action. Matt Holland came off with, that was actually an injury. So same with Marcel Desailly, there were sort of recurrence of injuries, but they down as subs, but they both picked up knocks, Desailly and Holland. Middlesbrough 2, Sunderland 1. Domination by the former league leaders. Deserved win for them. And you can see again there, the shots really spread around the team. Everyone getting chances there. I know that Boxic saw someone, I think Dron UK had captained
Boxic. Was quite unlucky, really. Yeah,
Boxic is a good pick, I think. 7 million. He will get goals. Sunderland, nothing for the strikers in this game at all. Michael Gray still very involved from left back, interestingly. So that's maybe one to watch. Newcastle 2, Leeds 0. It's a bit of a surprise result, but Newcastle were absolutely dominant in this game. Again, you can see Leeds really struggled to get any shots on target, but Newcastle dominated the shots on goal figure. Obviously, they were really missing the players. You can see Michael Dewberry playing. That's a weakened Leeds team, really. Robbie Keane getting a 5. It just wasn't their day.
Yeah.
You can see there are not many shots on target throughout the team.
Why do you think Leeds' defence is so bad away?
I don't know, but I mean, they clearly are, aren't they? They're clearly struggling. They're going to miss. I suppose Woodgate didn't play actually over Dewberry, but obviously they're going to miss Rio Ferdinand no matter what. But they just don't look like they're trustworthy away from home. So I'm not sure why, but it might be because they attack teams, maybe.
I think I've got a delay on the stream again, Dave, for some reason.
Okay. Let's see how it goes. And
yeah, that should be okay. That's
yeah,
fine.
cool.
Okay.
Can always ring you back if I need to. Right, so Alan Shearer with 4 shots in the game, 4 on target. And you see Laurent Robert involved, Carl Court involved. Good attacking performance by Newcastle, this one. Everton 4, Liverpool 3 was the surprise game of the day. I think everyone expected this to be a low-scoring affair. As you can see, the keepers played pretty rubbish, and actually there was more shots on target ended in goals than were saved. So clearly that was actually a pretty bad day for the keepers. And I think you can see here Steven Gerrard
It was just down to keepers that was high scoring, nothing else.
Pretty much that was it. Yeah, poor keeper's performance. So you can see Steven Gerrard getting shots away. Lots of key headers there for Liverpool as well. Key passes from Berger and Biscan. And Everton-wise, Thomas Radzinski coming to the team getting a couple of goals. Oh, sorry, that's Duncan Ferguson with a couple of goals, but Thomas Radzinski coming with a goal and assist. I think that puts him on the radar a little bit as a possible choice when Everton's fixtures ease up and look good. Maybe even Big Dunk himself, if you're feeling brave.
Everton's still going under the radar.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the first few weeks they really struggled, and I basically just first impression earmarked them as rubbish, and then they've surprised me. So I think there's certainly at home. I think they're a good pick. Like all of those defenders.
Yeah, and at home they've got some decent defenders.
Yeah,
Stubbs and Weir and Unsworth.
Yeah, and Thomas
incredible defenders. There.
Thomas Gravison as well. 4 goals and 1 assist in 12 games is excellent. His average rating is pretty poor, but he's getting the returns. So he might be one to consider. He's getting forward for that.
Do you know what his? Yeah.
I don't know what his own. I haven't got my sheet. I haven't got my sheet in front of me, but I would imagine it's extremely low. Paul Gerrard there completing 2 passes in the whole game. Right, should we go on to the Champions League, Andy?
Yeah, the big news. So, do you want to go to Liverpool first? I don't know if you want to.
Yeah,
you can see the final group stage results.
So basically, the way that since the game week that just passed yesterday, we've had 2 weeks in the game. So we had first of all we had Champions League, and we had then the League Cup, and then we had the UEFA Cup, and then we had the international break. So there has been a lot that's happened and a lot to catch you up on. So we'll go bit by bit. We'll start with the Champions League.
The UEFA Cup wasn't this week. The draw was made.
Sorry, thank you.
The UEFA Cup was last week.
Thank you. The draw was made. Good point, Andy. This is where my internet cuts out probably, and we have to come back and join everyone. So
come back tomorrow. Yeah.
So game week 13, the Liverpool double game week is off because Liverpool beat Rangers 1-0. So there is no double game week for Liverpool in 13. So Danny Murphy with the goal, Jamie Redknapp going off injured there for another Liverpool injury, although actually he's already recovered from that, so it obviously wasn't too bad. So Arsenal, Champions League, they lost in Moscow 2-1. Lauren with the goal for Arsenal, and the assist was for Pires. Now the one that everyone wants to know about is Man United. Let's go to. So Man United drew in Nantes. That's 11 shots on target domination, but they couldn't manage to win it. In terms of future double game weeks and stuff, we'll go over that in a bit, where that Liverpool double game will go. Now Man United have had their draw made, and the news is that the draw was made and they're playing on Tuesday against Rangers. So Man United Middlesbrough is postponed in the Premier League this week. So Man United Middlesbrough is a blank in game week 13, which is obviously pretty massive.
Just when everyone was getting their 6 Man U and Middlesbrough players in total.
Yeah.
Everyone was getting towards 3 Borough, 3 United. Now what to do? Yeah,
so basically that game was scheduled for Monday, and then the Champions League draw was made. Man United play on Tuesday. They don't move games backwards, it seems. They could have just moved it to Saturday, but they don't do that. So there is no Man United. So it's an interesting mix of reactions in the comments. Depends how much you love Carnage, I think, basically. I think if you're on the stream, you're probably at an advantage no matter what your situation is, because you're ahead of the curve of most people. Even though it's a pretty engaged player base, you guys are the hardcore. So hopefully you can get ahead. But we literally found out about this while the games were happening on Saturday. So I was looking for injury news for this week, and I just saw that Man United had ineligible players, and I couldn't work out what had happened. And then I saw that the game had been postponed. So we thought we'd better give you a heads up. And That's the
Yeah,
news,
the
I'm
next
afraid,
game's against
guys.
Rangers. What I would say on it is, I think you're at an advantage if you've got four in total. Like, I think it's pretty hard to avoid the free hit if you've got 6 in total. But having 4 in total might give you that advantage. I think I wouldn't free hit if I had 4. 5's an awkward one. Depends how the rest of the squad is, especially when we go through injuries.
Yeah.
But I think if you've got 6 in total, it's going to be hard not to free hit. Again, it's different strategies, but
Yeah. FPL Cobbler is saying stay alert. Maybe that's what Boris was talking about. We didn't see it coming, but
yeah.
You guys have been alert. So we'll go into when the games are all rescheduled for in a bit. We'll go through the whole fixture run from 13 through to 17 just to try and get clear on where the fixtures are going to be. So we'll make sure you guys get up to speed on that. But should we keep cracking through with the fixtures and the games and that sort of news for now, Andy?
Yeah, that's fine. Are we sure Boris Chow wasn't Boris Johnson?
He's the only Boris that we really care about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that's Champions League. So League Cup is next. League Cup
Just before we go
from
the Champions League, do you want to bring up the draw for the Champions League for next phase?
Yeah, good shout. So Champions Cup. So Man United in Group A with Fenerbahce, Lazio and Rangers. That's a great draw for them at that stage of the competition.
Lazio United will dominate that group.
Yeah.
I think.
Dortmund, Juve, Real Madrid, Rosenborg.
Unlucky Rosenborg.
Barca, Celtic, Parma, Slavia Prague. Unlucky Slavia Prague. Because Celtic are decent in this. And then Arsenal's group has got Bayern Munich, Olympiacos, who they always get in the Champions League, and Roma. So Liverpool, obviously, just to clarify, Liverpool qualified for the UEFA Cup in 3rd place. So let's just go back to the first group stage. I'm not sure what group Liverpool are in, but I'll have a quick scan through. I'm pretty sure that Feyenoord got a result against Real Madrid. Yeah, so Feyenoord beat Real Madrid.
Yeah, actually, so...
And Iker Casillas got man of the match as well. So they did beat them 2-1, but Liverpool managed to get through because they beat Rangers 1-0, snuck through against Rangers.
What was the match stats for Liverpool against Rangers?
They smashed them, so 15 shots to 2.
Oh, okay.
But they only managed 1 goal. Shot on strikers still.
Yeah.
Right, so that's the Champions League. Let's go to the League Cup. So League Cup results from the week just gone. Ipswich beat Bradford 1-0. You can see the team there. Pretty strong Ipswich team there actually they put out. And they beat them with a Finidi goal in the 58th minute. Marcus Stewart picked up an injury, which he's in your team, isn't he, Andy? So you've lost Marcus Stewart. We'll cover
Terrible.
that. We'll cover that.
Terrible news from the Zombies.
We'll cover that in a bit. So anything interesting to see there? Finidi very involved up front. Leeds beat QPR 3-0 as we'd expect. Again, a very strong Leeds side there. Boring game. They scored with all 3 of their shots on target and they won. And Chelsea managed to beat Leicester away from home with Leon Knight scoring, which is interesting, as well as Jimmy Floyd, Husbank, Dean Sturridge getting the goal for Leicester. So Tala is rightly pointing...
Interesting that Leon Knight's getting some game time.
Yeah, he came on in the league at the weekend, isn't he? So got a sub-appearance. Tala is rightly pointing out that this means that Leicester have a confirmed double game week. So this means, I've got another computer over here, that means that in game week 15, Leicester will definitely have a double game week. And it will be against Blackburn away, so that gives Blackburn Southampton away, Leicester home for Blackburn, and Leicester have Blackburn away, Sunderland at home. So that's 2 quite tasty fixtures there for those teams, Blackburn and Leicester. Let's have a look at the...
Escobar's saying about the UEFA Cup draw. We'll get to that as well.
Should we head to that?
Yeah, do that.
So we'll go through all the double game week permutations in a bit. We've been doing our maths and we won't bore you too long with it, but we've got all of the possibilities. So here's the 3rd round of the UEFA Cup draw. It's quite interesting, difficult draw for the English team. So Ajax against Newcastle is here. Liverpool face Deportivo, another not easy game. Ipswich are against Porto and Leeds are against Milan. So that's 4 really difficult ties. When you see teams like Dunafair, Brambergen, Red Star, Hackers, Vizhnikar, they've basically been really unfortunate in their draws. They're the British teams, the English teams. They're going to struggle to get through, quite likely, I would have said.
But if they do get through, you've got a good chance of winning it and knocking out some good teams there.
Yeah. So obviously, UEFA Cup, if they get through, that will have an impact down later in the season. The third round is played in the next few weeks, and then they have a break until February in the UEFA Cup and in the Champions League.
For the third round of the UEFA Cup, the ties for the third round will be the same midweeks as the Champions League.
Yeah.
For the first two games of the second phase.
Yeah. And this is where we're at with the draw for the League Cup quarter-final. So we've got Middlesbrough or Man United against Hull or Fulham, Preston or Derby against Man City or Ipswich, Liverpool or Walsall against Arsenal or Charlton or Newcastle, because they still haven't made their third round tie, Leeds or Chelsea against Everton or West Ham. We'll discuss the implications of that very shortly.
Yeah, before we go on to fixtures, I think we should have a look at internationals as well before we go on to the fixtures.
Yeah. So for those that missed the tweet, basically, I'll try and sum up briefly. Leeds are very likely to have a blank in game week 15 and game week 16 when they face Derby in 15, Blackburn in 16. The reason for that is because of international games. So let's go to South America to begin with. Competitions, World Cup qualifying South America, because Colombia have qualified for the playoff game. So Colombian players, which is Juan Pablo Angel, he'll miss one game of game week 15. He'll come back for their double game week fixture in the middle of game week 15, and then he'll fly back out and play and miss game week 16. So I think he's the only player affected. Angel, so Juan Pablo Angel, which is a shame for anyone who was thinking about bringing him in, because he was a decent option for game week 15 as a double, but he won't be available. So Balaban, Dublin, those players will be playing in 15 and 16, you'd imagine, although Angel will play one of those games in the 15 double game week.
And we're pretty sure as well that the Leeds lads will fly home for the UEFA Cup tie against Milan.
Yes.
During that week as well. So they play Colombia, then they come back to Ellen Road to play Milan, then they play Colombia again.
It's mad. I mean, it's how it works in this game. But we are I'm very, very confident that the Leeds are going to have their games cancelled in 15 and 16. We won't have that confirmed until after Wednesday, but come Thursday morning we'll have confirmation of that. So I think because Leeds have got 4 Australian players, they all can feature for Australia. They've all got international caps. That's Danny Milosevic, Jacob Burns, Harry Kewell, Mark Viduka. Derby have got Con Blatsis, Blackburn have got John Filan. So I think that basically those games are going to be going. I'm pretty confident. It doesn't affect any other South American players, just Angel. Or if there's any other random Colombians that get called up, it will affect them too.
So basically it's just a World Cup playoff game between Colombia and Australia over 2 legs. They're the only 2 teams playing.
Yeah.
And there's no other players to worry about.
Yeah, not to my knowledge. I mean, we've gone over previously like America and African teams and those sorts. So we have talked about those in the past. I can't remember exactly when they are, but those can pop up with random fixtures. But this is the only new information for us. Let's quickly have a look at as well the European, because what am I doing? Fabio Martez, don't want him. So World Cup qualifying Europe. Bad news for England fans, I'm afraid. We were knocked out.
Summer's ruined.
I know. Classic. So England, we drew our first game at home, 1-1 against Ukraine. It's because whoever the manager is playing Andy Cole and Robbie Fowler up front, which is they were a disaster for England, weren't they? So they're never going to score. So
Michael Owen's injured and Shearer's retired. It's just kind of that in-between phase, maybe.
Yeah. So 1-1 in the first leg, and then they lost 2-3 against Ukraine. In fact, they were getting beaten 3-0 until 2 goals in the last 10 minutes. So very England performances, and England are out.
But I did notice the new manager for West Ham is going to be happy.
He will be. Scottish new manager for West Ham, and Scotland, James Alapran, if he's in the chat, will be delighted that Scotland have gone through. You can see there they won their second leg 2-1 in Austria to take themselves through. And they won the first leg 1-0 there. Looks like Barry Ferguson, Colin Hendry had some good games there. And Ireland also did not make it, sadly.
That's a big shame.
They lost 3-0 in the Czech Republic, with Dean Kiley having a bad day. Michael Reddy getting subbed off on 22 minutes for Robbie Keane, who didn't start for some reason.
They went Kylie over Shea Given. That's
Kylie over Given. They went Michael Reddy over Robbie Keane as well. So not great choices there. They played Rory Delap right wing by the looks of it as well. And Ireland won, Czech Republic won in the second leg. Robbie Keane started that one and got the goal. So there we go.
Yeah, James from Planet FPL saying Sven out. Has he been sacked yet at all?
I don't think he has. So a bit of job
'Cause
information just to say as well.
Under pressure.
Both John Gregory and Peter Reid's jobs are very insecure. Villa sitting in 16th, Sunderland sitting 19th. Those jobs could be going this week, next week, very soon. International wise, it doesn't look like Sven's under pressure, but certainly should be.
Yeah, I would. He's got to go.
Yeah, he's got to go. I agree. Sven to Hammers. We've confirmed that West Ham have a new Scottish manager, so it's not Sven this time, I'm afraid. Few
Glenn
Scottish
Roder's
candidates.
free for the England job.
Glenn Roder, yeah, we'll take that. Not sure about that one. All right, so that's the internationals in brief. Not tons more to do there. What have we got next, Andy? International results.
Yeah, I
done.
would say go to the fixtures and just look at the schedule to see how they pan out. I think.
Right,
That's the
yeah.
best thing.
So, guys, next what we'll cover is we'll go through the Premier League fixtures that are coming up, and then we'll chat a little bit about chips and how you might want to use them and some different options for that. And then after that, we'll do club by club, cover injuries, suspensions, all that sort of stuff that we normally do. But the fixtures is going to take 10-15 minutes to go through that and cover the chips. So that's basically where we're headed. We're doing well. It's at 10 o'clock, so we're doing well. Planet FPL James, great reminder there. Reminder that USA playing game week 14. So there you go. There is another game coming up. That's like I say, previously talked about, but that's a great reminder because I forgot which game week it was. Thank you, James, and
So
thank you
we
for
can
your
try and look at the
wonderful streams.
Yeah, top job, James.
Yeah,
Honestly,
should we have a
makes
little
the
look at the USA squad? That's a good shout because they'll have already announced their squad for that game. So it looks like they've not called up any British-based players. So I cannot promise that this will be what it is, but they play on the 18th. Yeah, I can promise that this is exactly what it is because they play tomorrow. So it's actually game week 13, but they haven't called up any English-based players. It's all American-based players. So people like Keller, Friedel, they're all available. So you've got away with it.
Nice.
Right, onwards to fixtures. So what I was just going to say, quick disclaimer on fixtures. They can change at any time. We've already said like things come out of the blue in this game, like as we've discovered this game week. But also they sometimes don't move the fixtures till a bit later on. So not everything as you see will stay as it is, but we'll talk about that as we go through it. Right. So here's game week 13. So game week 13, Liverpool versus Tottenham was due to be a double game week in this week, but that has now been moved. So we have these games coming up: Charlton, Blackburn, Southampton, Derby, the Sunday games, and then there's basically a midweek with League Cup ties, with some European games, I believe, a mixture of stuff. Game week 14. There's
a League Cup fixtures right as well this next midweek, isn't there?
Yeah, we've got League Cup and European fixtures this week coming up.
Cool.
So yeah, I'll cover that in a second. So game week 14 is a normal game week. There is no possibility of game week 14 being a double game week. So game week 14 will be normal. All 10 teams will play. So game week 13 we've got 9 games, game week 14 10 games. Game week 15 is a big double game week. So these are the normal fixtures that you'd expect to see. So we've got Everton, Villa, Newcastle, Man United on the Sunday. We've got Chelsea, Bolton on the Monday. Right, we currently have 6 games scheduled for the Wednesday of game week 15. Right, so Aston Villa versus Southampton is definitely on. Blackburn versus Leicester is definitely on. So that is 2 confirmed games that will not be moving. There's nothing that can move. Those teams are out of the League Cup. They're playing. Now the other 4 games I've written down on my sheet that I think got to get my workings up. It's all a bit all over the place.
I mean, you have mentioned that they're highly likely to happen. You think because of the League Cup fixtures, and the implications of further down the line.
So I think that I think Bolton versus Middlesbrough is the game that I would say is like 50-50, because that game, Bolton Middlesbrough, will be on if Man United beat Middlesbrough away in round 4. So I consider that to be a bit of a 50-50 tie. That game could go either way, really, with Man United and Middlesbrough, I think. So if Man United win that, then that game is on. Derby versus Charlton, that is only going to be on if Ipswich beat Man City away and Derby beat Preston away. So I think that's likely to go ahead. Sunderland versus Chelsea will be on if Leeds beat Chelsea at home in round 4. So I think that Leeds will beat Chelsea at home, I'm almost sure. Leeds are great at home, Chelsea aren't great away. And for Tottenham Everton to go ahead, then they need both. That will be on if Leeds beat Chelsea and if West Ham beat Everton. Is that right? I feel like there might be an error there.
So Tottenham Everton will be on if West Ham beat Everton at home.
Yeah.
And Leeds beat Chelsea.
Yes.
After game week, so we don't know that until after game week 14.
Yeah. So basically, we won't know. I guess the real headline here is we have 2 confirmed fixtures, which is the top 2 that you can see on your screen right now. We won't have any more confirmed double game week fixtures for this week until after game week 14, because the information will be incomplete. That's a basic headline for you.
I mean, you're saying likely for Derby Charlton. I would say it's quite unlikely if they're both teams are away to good Division 1 sides.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about that one.
And I think that Ipswich and Derby both have to win away for that game to go ahead. Yeah. I don't think they will. So I think for me, I'll put some tweets out with this all in so you can see it written down. But for me, I think that the top 2 are definitely happening. I think the bottom 3 that you can see are very likely, and I think Bolton v Middlesbrough is 50-50. Yeah. Anurag says, I'm just going to wait for Krellin to get all this and update his spreadsheet. You get all this, Krellin? Which is probably a good shout. Yeah, I did see Ben in the chat earlier. Hello, Ben. I hope that you're getting your head around this. Now, just to say for Ben as well, if no one else is interested, for Ben's sake, basically the problem is the UEFA Cup teams can't play on this night because they have a UEFA Cup fixture. So a lot of these ties that involve teams that could go through will have to get moved to the 12th of December. It all gets very complex, but I'll put it all in a tweet, and the headline is 2 confirmed, 4 will only be confirmed after game week 14. Tyler's saying, why does City versus Ipswich affect Derby versus Charlton? The reason that affects it is because the winner of if Derby get through, they'll play the winner of the City Ipswich tie. Ipswich cannot play their League Cup tie on the 5th of December because they have a European game, which means that if Ipswich get through, Derby are free to play their league game. Does that make sense?
Because the 5th of December is European night as well, which is great.
Exactly, yeah. So 5th of December is a European night. So if they end up being drawn against Ipswich, they'll have to play on the 12th. See, Adam France, I put the scenarios on Twitter. I could be wrong, Adam, but I thought there was a couple of things that I slightly differed on with you on that. But I'll put mine up, I'll link to yours, and then we can see how we go. And you guys can see. But basically, game week 15 is going to be a big double game week. I think it's very likely to have at least 5 doubles, possibly 6.
I would say it's 4. I'm going to say 4.
Andy's saying 4. So let's say 4 to 6. But I'm confident. I think it's because of that Leeds-Chelsea game. Because if Leeds beat Chelsea, we're straight away to 4 games. And I think they will do that comfortably.
Mm-hmm.
There will be no other double games added to this week.
What I would say is...
Yeah, go, mate.
So I can't remember what I was going to say now. It'll come back to me. Go on.
I was going to say there's no other teams will have games brought into this game week. Ben Krellin is now a bit confused. Ben, if you've got any confusion, message me. I can send you schedules, I can send you info. But for anyone who is not casual and who is hardcore about this, then I'm happy to give you information. But for everyone else who just wants the basic information, 2 confirmed games, 4 likely. Let's see. League Cup draw-wise, I've done that a bit earlier in the stream, about 5 minutes ago, so we can go back to that. The quarterfinal is drawn, but it's all a bit unknown. Right. Should we move on?
Yeah, move on.
Right.
Move on.
Game week 16. So we have.
Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say now.
Yeah.
I don't. If you get over 4 in the double game week, I don't think there'll be another double game week as big probably in the season.
Yes.
As that.
Yes, I agree.
Is what I would say for that.
I agree.
And I'm probably 90% sure we'll get 4 fixtures.
Yeah, I'm definitely 90% convinced we'll get 4 fixtures as well. There's lots of people asking for the details of the schedule. What I'll do is I'll post a tweet out, a thread that's got all the screenshots in that you could ever want, and then we can all go crazy on it together. And I'll post what I think is the case, and we can thrash it out together. And eventually, me, Panda, PlanFPL, Ben, everyone can figure it out. But the headline is it's going to be a big double game week. The biggest of the season, I think, is highly likely. So, game week 16, we've got a small number of Saturday games, lots of playing on Sunday, and then we've got a Monday game. Now, currently, we have Newcastle's against Arsenal and Liverpool against Fulham scheduled as double game week fixtures. By my calculations, I think that Newcastle game has to go. I don't think that can stay there. Because either Arsenal or Newcastle will be playing against Charlton in the League Cup that night. So I think Newcastle-Arsenal will have to go. And I'm pretty sure that Liverpool-Fulham should stay there. So I think that Liverpool-Fulham, I think, is safe. So I think Liverpool and Fulham will have a double game week in 16, which will leave Liverpool playing Derby and Fulham at home. What a great double game week. And Fulham will have Liverpool away and Leicester at home, which is okay. But Fulham double game week, Liverpool double game week in 16. Like I said, Newcastle-Arsenal tie, I believe, will move.
Yeah.
Tala, who is another person I've put some great comments on double game weeks, agrees with me. So right, Newcastle Arsenal is going in 16. Game week 17, they haven't moved the fixtures yet for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but that's the full rundown. Currently, they have Tottenham versus Liverpool, and that Middlesbrough Man United game has been pushed to game week 17. So game week 17 will see currently 2 double game weeks. And I have got down that I think that Tottenham versus Liverpool is doubtful to go ahead if Liverpool beat Walsall in the League Cup. I don't know why, but I spent ages on this, so I'm going to just trust myself. And I think that it's doubtful to go ahead. Again, I don't know why. And I think the Middlesbrough Man United is safe. So
it's confirmed double for 17.
Yeah, again, Taylor's saying Liverpool stays if Liverpool don't qualify for quarterfinals, and I agree with that. So I think that this is where Liverpool play the quarterfinals. So Middlesbrough v Man United will be the double game week, likely for 17, leaving Middlesbrough with Chelsea and Man United at home, and Man United with Leicester at home and Middlesbrough away, which is very interesting. And the only other thing... sorry, I was just going to say one other... Can I just mention very quickly, something that I forgot to say was about, just to remind people about Leeds, that Leeds would be missing out on game week 15 and game week 16, is what we expect with the internationals. We'll confirm that after the upcoming game week. Those games could move to later on in December, or I've got more likely January, is what I think.
Cool. Do you think Newcastle v Arsenal from 16 could go to 17 a week later? Is there a chance for that?
Possibly. I'm not sure. I didn't look at that. I know that because Newcastle or Arsenal or Charlton will be involved in the quarterfinals, it might be that their quarterfinal ends up getting played on that night. I'm not sure. But I'll get the schedules out, I'll get everything out, and we can see that just as soon as we can on Twitter. I'll try and get it out tonight, actually, just to give people time to look at it. And to clarify, blank game week 22, which we're going forward to now, this is the current state of blank game week 22. Only 4 games in blank game week 22, but they're all pretty much all big teams. So you've got Newcastle, Leeds, Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United, Ipswich are the 6 teams left in Europe, and then Fulham and West Ham make up the numbers there. But this is blank game week 22. Now, other games could get moved in there conceivably, but I think it would probably only be if they're moved out of 15, they might go there, because most of these teams are going to have fixture pile-ups. So it's going to be a very blank game week.
And basically, in your sheet, where it says game week 22, those are the fixtures that are moving back to 15 or staying in 22.
Yeah. So I think what I'll do after tonight, if you're in agreement with this, Andy, I will probably put all of the games, all of the doubles in 15 as they stand in the fixture sheet right now, so that people can start prepping for that. And there's a chance they might move to 22.
I'm in agreement with that. And then take, obviously, the 13 one, like Middlesbrough, take that out.
Yeah.
Out of 13. And also take the Tottenham-Liverpool game out of 13.
Yeah. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll do our best to make the sheets as accurate as possible, but like I say, curveballs come from all over the place. I spent literally about 2 hours trying to figure it all out, but there's going to be a lot of... I see Heskebo saying, now the time for some proper Sky FF style transfer planning. This is going to be a real time when you can navigate and make some progress. So will be interesting to see what people do. Now, we were going to talk a little bit about chips, because I think this is the time to play chips. Like, I feel like in FPL, it's all like game week 30 to 37. This is probably our equivalent between 13 and 22 is probably our equivalent, where a lot of people will be playing chips.
Agreed. And I think, like I said, free hit 13 is very valid if you've got maybe 5 or 6 Middlesbrough and Man U players. I don't know if I've still got a wild card to play. You could perhaps do it in 14 ahead of a bench boost in 15.
Yeah,
is a play, but you don't. You say you want a wild card afterwards.
So if I had my wild card left, I would dead end into game week 15. So I would think about dumping some Man United and Middlesbrough players now. I would dead end into game week 15 and bench boost. The reason for that is because the double game week in 15, it contains really the weakest teams who are going to be the players that make up your bench. So, and even people like Jerry Taggart, cheap Staunton, players like that who have got decent fixtures. I think that bench boost in 15 would be my most preferred option. And so I would therefore look towards building a team for 15 and then decimating it with a wildcard in 16.
Yeah, and also think it changes with what you're doing this week. So if you're not free hitting in 13, I think you can probably free hit in 15 with all the weaker teams.
Yeah,
that's a viable strategy.
Yes,
especially if you played your wildcard already.
Yeah, I think they're both both good options for free hits. So especially Man United are away at Newcastle in game week 15, and I know that someone was saying that they think that's a good fixture for Man United.
I was saying that.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. So, I mean, Arsenal Spurs. You'd imagine there's goals in that, but I would expect Arsenal defenders to concede against Spurs because Spurs just score and score and score. Leeds are poor away from home, so there's some highly owned players in game week 15. To be fair, that could struggle. So free hit 15 could be a good one. Yeah,
Dave actually ran some sims this week as well on Newcastle against United. Just having a quick look at like how Shearer performs at home and away. And Newcastle are one of the teams that still go attacking against Man United.
Yeah.
So that plays into United's hands for them attacking. So often I see like a 4-0, 3-0, that kind of result for United, home and away.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's
I wouldn't be put off by United against Newcastle.
Yeah, and to be fair, if you're backing against Veron and Van Nistelrooy, that is a risky game, especially if you're doing it to bring in Bosco Balaban or someone like that. I see that James Plant FPL is thinking that he is going to wildcard now with the Borough versus United issues and free hit in 15, which I think is a very valid strategy. The only thing is, if you're getting rid of your Borough and United players, the only thing is Man United against Everton in game week 14 is a tasty tie. And Middlesbrough away at Villa, which is good. And then the week after, Middlesbrough away at Bolton. So Middlesbrough have not got amazing fixtures, but Man United have got some really nice ones around there. So
Christmas time as well is quite a nice fix. Like they don't have different days for fixtures. It's normally just 10 at the same time because they're trying to squeeze it all in.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
TV's kind of cancelled on those fixtures. So once you get past 17, it's pretty plain sailing until 22 again.
Yeah. So this is game week 16. Man United have Chelsea at home. Middlesbrough has Southampton at home. So you might well want those players. So I've very briefly put down, when I was trying to think about it, I put down that if you there's basically, you've obviously got a few chips. There's plenty of time to use your triple captains. So I think with triple captains, I wouldn't panic about that. There's plenty of time. There'll be plenty of future double game weeks, especially if teams stay in Europe. They'll get games pushed back with FA Cup replays. You've got FA Cup replays all the way, including the semi-final in this game. So there'll be plenty of chances to play triple captain. But certainly bench boost and free hit, I think, should be at the front of people's minds. I put here that in game week 13, you could keep your Man United and Middlesbrough players and just try and get out 10 or 11, and you might be all right because pretty much everyone has got at least 4, and many people have got up to 6 players. So you might get away with 9 or 10 players this week.
That's until we get to the club by club, Dave.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But then you could then free hit in 15. Is the thing. But the other thing is obviously game week 22. There's only 4 games. If you don't want to plan around it, but you will have a second wild card at that point. Tips for those of us without a wild card. What would you do, Andy? With no wild card, what would be your move?
With no wild card, I would be looking probably to free hit in 15.
Yeah.
With no wild card.
Yeah.
And carry on as normal and kind of struggle through 13.
Interesting.
Save the bench boost for another week. Free hits a good option. So like you've got your squad now with Man U and Middlesbrough players.
Yeah.
Struggle through. Free hit in 15.
Yeah. I suppose with all of it, it really, really depends on.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what your squad's looking like because if you've got the teams that double in 15,
yeah,
you don't need to free hit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
if you can bench boost in 15.
I think if you've got bench players who are going to have a double game week, I would personally go and bench boost there, and then I think free hit in 13. But I just really like the idea of bench boost in 15 personally. But I can see why many people will free hit, and I think if you haven't got a wild card, I really wouldn't worry too much. I think there's plenty of ways to play it without a wild card. Take an odd hit here or there. There's no problem with that at all. I'd say.
Are you saying, Dave? Are you saying you wouldn't triple captain for the United double in 17?
I mean, that looks pretty plumb, doesn't it? 2 United games. Who have they got? So they've got Middlesbrough away, and they have got Leicester at home. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to resist, isn't it? To be honest, if Van Nistelrooy or Veron's fit, I think triple captain there looks great.
Yeah, but I think anytime United get a double, you've got to take advantage. You know what's going to happen later down the season.
Yeah, 2 not terrible defences.
Man United double.
2 not terrible defences though there. Tell you what, I'd be interested to see how Man United get on at Middlesbrough in the League Cup because that'll be a pre-run of that game, so that'll be interesting. But I'm sure people will sim it about 1,000 times anyway to give us that information. But yeah, it's got to be individual to your team. You've got to figure out. I'm sure there'll be plenty of chat flying around on Twitter over the next few days. Get your teams out there, get your strategies out there, and good luck to all of you.
And guys, if you want any information, just mention us in your tweets or something. We can try and have a look. Yeah. If we get a chance to.
Yeah. I'll try and put up a good. I'll update the sheets tonight so that when your sheets are refreshed, then it'll be all up there, and I'll try and put out a good thread with all the fixture information so you guys can get your heads around it as much as possible. Yeah, interesting. I think triple captain I would not be too hasty on. Is one thing I'd say. That Liverpool double game week, if you fancy a differential, Robbie Fowler, Derby at home, Fulham at home, that could be an absolute jackpot. So that is something to think about. It's a real differential pick, but you never know.
Yeah.
Should we
I think we have to go through club by club
to
give people more headaches and more dramas.
Yeah. So Premier League. Let's go through club by club, guys, and then we can answer any questions. So Oleg Luzhny, he strained his knee ligaments. He is not going to play this weekend. He's at 33%. Interestingly, Luke Disable, he said that he is going to do. He can't find a player with 70% less than 70% who plays. So if they've got less than 70%, they're not going to play. Ray Parler there, he's nearly back. He's at 90%. Now Thierry Henry suspended for 1 match, so he will miss this week. We knew about that. If you're free hitting in 13, Dennis Bergkamp is injured. He is out for 2 weeks with a thigh strain, which means Carnu and Jeffers are nailed on to play at home to Sunderland. So I think.
Nailed strong, Dave. Nailed is strong.
Well, I just can't see who else will play up top.
Wiltord's sat there.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be Carnu and Jeffers. I mean, if I was free hitting this week, I would 100% have Jeffers and Carnu in my team personally. 100%. I'm definite on that.
Okay, I would probably just have one of them.
Interesting.
If I was free hitting, yeah.
We'll see. And again, as always, we haven't simmed yet, so I might have egg on my face. Right, Aston Villa. Mark Delaney is injured in the international game in a friendly win over Northern Ireland. Probably some Welsh people and Northern Irish people might be interested in that. But he was injured. 2 weeks. That's it for Villa. Everyone else is fit. Oh, we should do condition actually because they come back.
Sort by condition. I think it's best. I think on this.
Yeah. Shall I do?
Although we have got all the news tomorrow coming out, but
I'm not going to do condition though. I don't think tomorrow. There's too much other stuff. Staunton 94%. Everyone else 100%. Right, there you go. Arsenal. Jeffers 84%. I would not have Francis Jeffers.
Oh, I thought you were 100%, Dave.
I would not have. There's no way I'd be picking Francis Jeffers in my free hit team, but I would be going for Carnu. So Jeffers is at 84% on match day, Pires at 90%, Edu at 85%, and that game is indeed today. So let's just have a quick look at the fixtures. So most of the games are on Saturday, and then we've got Charlton, Blackburn, Southampton, Derby on the Sunday. So that's something to bear in mind when we see those 4 clubs. Those players have got an extra day to recuperate. There's no Monday game because that was going to be Man United. Blackburn Rovers. So down here we've got Craig Short is injured. He's out for 10 days. Matt Janssen, he's at 1 day, but I think Blackburn are one of the teams that play... Yeah, they play tomorrow. So he should be fine for that. Damien Duff is out for a few days, but he could play at 90%. Mark Hughes is at 90%. And Simon Grayson, a new injury there, he should also be back. Just to say, I do think Francis Jeffers will play, is my opinion, by the way, but I think he might not play the whole game.
Can we just click on Grabby? Because I know from Luke's video today, I was quite interested to see the random stats.
Finishing 20.
That they introduce every sim.
Yeah, so he's got finishing 20 in this sim, so that might be why he's getting so many goals. Yeah, Luke Disable, classic, great video. He's putting out such good stuff at the moment. Wolf Pod are going to be putting out something tomorrow night. I'm sure they'll be talking about chips and all sorts as well. PlanFPL, they've got a section at the end of their pod tomorrow about ChampMan. I'm sure they'll be talking about this stuff too. So get your questions into all those guys as well if you've got questions. We're going to be pretty busy with
guys,
other bits and pieces.
Just talk about the Wolfpack as well. Reminder myself that Perfect Pete's still number 1, so well done, Perfect Pete. Mm-hmm. But world number 2 is FPL Irons from the Wolf Pod and Wolfpack. So oi oi, Irons, well done, mate.
And I was on that pod last week having a chat with those guys about Juan Sebastian Veron, and FPL Irons was not keen on Veron, but can't argue with him, can you? Second in overall in the world, he is absolutely flying. So fair play to that, Luke. Right, Blackburn Rovers. We've got Diawara coming back from injury at 71%. Ricardo Gardner's still out. He's got a few more months to go still. Everyone else is looking pretty good there. Neil Madison.
Such a shame about Gardner.
I know. I look forward to his return. Neil Madison is a booking away from suspension if anyone owns him. Charlton. Mark Fish remains suspended. That's not new news. And none of those players I don't think are in the game. You can see that everyone is 90% above apart from Fortune, who won't play anyway. So all the big players there look absolutely fine.
And that's a settled team as well. You can probably guarantee 10 of the 11 starters every week.
Yeah, very settled team. Chelsea, there's a few bits going on at Chelsea. So Ambrosetti has gone on loan to Piacenza. Oh, that's already happened. I hadn't registered that. Mark Bosnich has gone on loan to Rotherham. A big move for the Australian there.
Well, that's good news for me because I got Rhys Evans in my...
nice, those Chelsea goalkeepers. He's now the backup goalkeeper.
Yeah, I saw him on the bench this week.
You've done well.
Cudicini red card.
We actually simmed 13 game weeks ahead so that you could get Rhys Evans in.
I'll get another team of the week. Yeah.
Frank Lampard is suspended for 1 match. But Chelsea do have some injury issues. So Stanic, he's got 1 day to go. I don't think Chelsea. Yeah, so he should be okay at 90%, but he is at 90%. He is injured. William Gallas, 2 weeks still to go. Marcel Dussy had a recurrence of an injury in the Blackburn game. He has got 3 weeks to go. So they're struggling at centre back. And Di Matteo, that's a long-term injury. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they play at centre back there. Terry, Ferrer, Melchiot played the last game. Makes Melchiot pretty safe, I would have thought. But T?
Melchiot didn't play last game, did he?
No, he was dropped.
He
rotated.
Yeah.
Taking up sort of condition. So Derby County, Daryl Powell is suspended. I believe he got sent off in a League Cup tie. So he is suspended this game week. Tonton Zola Makoko is returning. He's at 90%.
Just play him. Just put him in.
And there's lots of squad players there who look actually still fine. So no problems there at Derby. Right, Everton. Huge news. Kevin McLeod's gone out on loan to Gillingham. Gone. Stolen from us. That's not huge news. Alan Stubbs is on 90%. He has 1 day to go. That game is today, but he is still very much in contention there with that injury. Oh, Alan is saying, is Lasso wanted? He's picked up. Yes, Lasso is wanted by his former club Blackburn. Had a nice spell there, won the league with them. So he's wanted by Blackburn. He could be an interesting option at 4.5 at Blackburn. They're solid defence. He'll get forward for them. And
who's playing left back at the moment? Bjornaby?
Bjornaby, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Good Johnson's back, but he's at 68%. Didn't pick that one up. Thank you to Billy Hadaway in the chat there. So he is back, but at 68%, from what Luke Stable said, it's unlikely that he will be getting a game this week. What's up with Kinkladze?
So,
Kinkladze wants a new contract.
So you think Luca Johnson? Could you see Leon Knight getting the game?
I think more likely Mikel Forsell or Zola pushed up top with Stanic in the hole.
Yeah, could be an option.
They
need centre backs though.
Yeah, they've got a deep squad, Chelsea, at least.
Talabona played well last game, got a man of the match.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole there personally. I feel like
No.
Fulham. So Gomar is at 88%. So again, very much in contention for this game, even though he's got an injury, and everyone else is 98% plus. All looking good there for them. And actually, Steve Marley is back from suspension this week. So Steve Marley is back and ready to play. That could threaten Louis Sahar game time.
He hasn't really done great, has he? Really?
No, he hasn't taken his chance. Ipswich Town. Stanic's injury was just a one-day. He'll be back soon. Yeah, he's available, Stanic. So Ipswich, Marcus Stewart. He got a really bad injury. So Marcus Stewart is out for 2 months with that injury in the League Cup tie. So I saw a few people actually bought him the game week just passed. And he came on like 89 minutes in that game and then got injured for 2 months in the next game. So that one has not worked out.
Just can't get a break on the zombies.
No, you're going to be down to about 4. Maybe Kudicini get injured and you can have re-sevens. So Matt Holland is on 61%. So he is very unlikely to play. Their game is also today. So I'd say Matt Holland hugely unlikely to play. Matteo Sereni has got 1 game left of his ban. Everyone else is looking good at Ipswich. Can't see your picture anymore, Andy. You're back.
Sorry, yeah, that's one.
Leeds United. So one thing just to flag up here. So they've obviously had quite a few injuries in the last game. Those players are already all back in light training. So, but I think that one possibility is that Harry Kewell won't get called up by Australia because he's lightly injured. But I still think they've got 3 Australians who will get called up. So that could save Leeds in 15-16. Don't think it will. He's at 53% with a few days to go. Dacour is at 90% with a week to go. And Rio Ferdinand is at 62% with 10 days to go.
Wouldn't expect any of those to start.
Dacour I would. Potentially
Dacour, sorry.
90%, but yeah, the others I wouldn't. Let's move on to Leicester. We have got some big injury news coming up in a minute. Not at Leicester though, so nothing there to report at Leicester. Everyone's looking great at Leicester. Everyone's happy. Liverpool.
Yeah, the big news is coming up.
Yeah.
It's not Liverpool again.
Yeah. So as we discussed, Jamie Redknapp is at 72%. We saw that earlier in the stream. Vladimir Smica is back in training. Still got a month to go, but he's at 81%. So touch and go, but they might need him because Heskey. Berger got injured in the last game, right at the end of that Everton game. He is out for 3 weeks, so another injury blow for Liverpool with Patrick Berger being out. So Smeaton might get rushed back because they need attacking players, and Smeaton has got the forward position there, so he could play up top once he starts playing. But
you can't miss that. He's still got a month out.
Daniel Sjoland will be added this week as a 4.5 million forward. So if you fancy a massive punt, it is a massive punt, but he's an option. Man United, everyone's fine at Man United. Don't need to panic about Man United. Ronnie Johnson's the only one there. He's got 3 weeks to go after being injured against Southampton previously. Raymond van der Houw is wanted by DSV Leeuwen and Vaduz. So everyone is fine at Man United, and they play in Europe next. They don't have a league game coming up. Middlesbrough?
Just going back to... okay, fine. Don't worry.
So, Middlesbrough. Jonathan Greening has picked up an injury. He's out for 2 weeks. He's been fairly injured this season. So, 2 weeks out for Jonathan Greening. There's a few loan players who are struggling. A few loan players have gone out. Joseph Job is one of them. He's gone out on loan. There's a few other random ones. People are guessing in the chat now who the injuries are. The list is shortening because it's not Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough have signed Emerson Boyce. He's coming from Luton, where he's had a really good start to the season. Luton for Bricky are second in Division 3. Congratulations, Luton. And Boyce has come in. We're going to add him as a 4.5 defender. So I think he won't be a starter to begin with, but if he can nail down that place ahead of Stockdale or Ian Pearce, then he'll be a good pick at 4.5, but he's 4.5.
Yeah, I like Boyce more than Stockdale and Pearce.
Yeah, I mean, he does play well in the game, doesn't he, Boyce? But he's probably a wait and see. Right, Newcastle. And Newcastle is the club where we have injuries.
Highly owned.
So you can see here, everyone at the top is fine. However, there's some bad ones. Let's look at Laurent Robert first. Laurent Robert, 3 months out with a torn groin muscle, which is not good news for him. So 3 months out for Laurent Robert. And Solano, 3 months out with a torn hamstring. So that's pretty massive. He got injured in Peru's last qualifying game against Bolivia.
I think Solano's still 40% owned as well.
He's massively owned. He's a good bargain, but he is out now. He's had a good season as well. 3 months. That's obviously, just to say as well, that plays into game week 13 with free hitting as well, because obviously if you do own Solano, you're going to want to get rid of Solano anyway. So you could jig funds about. I don't know. Just another factor.
Yeah, you're going to have to sell him after the free hit anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, but I suppose, it's not a huge problem. Bellamy's coming back in. Now, Bellamy could become an option with 2 injured wingers. Bellamy could play out on the flanks. Gary Speed could play out on the flanks. Gavilan's out injured for a couple of weeks as well. Craig Bellamy's at 90% and just a few days to go.
I'll tell you what, with Gavilan and Solano out, Dyer could go right mid.
Yep, definitely Kieran Dyer is a good shout.
And Dyer, I really, really like Dyer. If you're going to tip someone to do well, I think Kieran Dyer could be that player.
Yeah, he missed the first few games injured, didn't he? But he's now back in and he's doing well.
I really like Dyer.
What's Dyer's price? Do you know, Andy?
I think it's 7.5. I think.
Okay, I was going to say 8, but I'm not totally sure. But he can get. It
was quite high. Yeah.
New signing for Newcastle. This guy, Antonis Sapoutsis, has come in. He looks pretty handy on the stats there. He's come in from Iraklis of Greece. So they bought him for 800k. He's already worth 2 million. Oh, it's minimum fee release clause as well. So there he is, Sapoutsis, influence 20, determination 18.
Shirt as well.
Yeah, I think he'll probably play quite a lot for now with missing midfielders. He's going to come in as a 5.5 midfielder, which for a Newcastle attacking mid could offer value potentially. Someone's saying, what's up with Dabazas? He's fit. I'm sure he's fit. He's unhappy. He wants a new contract. Loads of people. Yeah, he has had that for a while, hasn't he? Loads of people on it. So, there we go. Newcastle. So, yeah, big news there with Solano and Laurent Robert. We were saying, even without the fixture news, like there was a lot to talk about tonight. Solano's injury is pretty massive. At Southampton, the only real thing is that Gavin Ray's coming back there from injury. He's at 90%. He's got 10 days to go. He'll be back in the team when he's fit, so that will have an impact on whoever's maybe some of the midfielders playing, potentially, or even some of the defenders, but he is probably a starter when he's fit. Few in the 90s there, but not much.
Yeah, BT's the one to keep an eye on, definitely.
Yeah, BT is, he's a good option on this game. 2 teams to go.
News of Sunderland.
Oh, yes.
There's a signing.
You are right.
There's a signing as well.
Thank you.
New signing.
There's a new signing at Sunderland, and it is Danny Mills who has come in at Sunderland. So I believe that he's a 4.5 million defender, and he has joined Sunderland for 2.3 million from Leeds, and you would think that he would come straight into the team ahead of Bernd Haas. Almost certainly. Can't imagine him not. George McCartney's the other option. So, I mean, Sunderland have had a terrible start to the season, but 4.5 for a Sunderland fullback, that's nice, I think.
Yeah, very nice. I really like Mills now. He's gone to Sunderland.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely going to start ahead of Haas.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I would think for sure. And he can play in midfield as well. And actually, did we miss Sunderland altogether? Anyway, Julio Arca is also out. 10 days out for Julio Arca. He pulled his hamstring playing for Argentina.
I didn't know about that, Dave, until you just said that.
Is he in your team as well?
He's in my zombie team. Yeah. I've got like 3 players.
Oh dear. We should let you have a wild card.
Arca's a great pick.
Right, so there you go. He got injured playing for Argentina. So Arca is out for 10 days. Ingham, the reserve keeper, is coming back from injury. Oster's at 90%. But there we go. So Sunderland, let's just check their condition, make sure everyone's happy and doing well there. Everyone looks fine there. So, yeah, it's a good point. Peter Carter in the chat saying that makes Gary Kelly a better pick. Although Mills hasn't played all season for Leeds, so I don't think he'll have too much impact. I think Alan Mabry was ahead of him in the pecking order.
He has been, yeah.
So I wouldn't think it has too much impact on Gary Kelly. Over at Spurs, we've got an injury, a tiny injury. No, we don't. I take that back. That was last game week. We had a tiny injury to Slakovic. He's fine now. Dean Richards is at 52%, so he'll miss this game week, but we'll be back for the next. Tim Sherwood's out for 3 weeks.
Slakovic as well came back in the cam role.
Yeah, he did.
2 assists, 9 rating.
Yeah, he did. He came back strong, didn't he? Played really well. I don't expect him to stay there, to be honest. I would think that Everson will come back in and they'll push him back into midfield, but who knows? Obviously, Johnson, the Australian who played in central midfield, he'll be going for international duty in 15 and 16. He's only got 1 cap, but surely he'll go and play for them.
Just before we get to West Ham,
Yeah.
who do we think, in the chat, who do we think the manager is? I did put a teaser out there saying it's Scottish.
Yeah.
But who do we think, guys?
Yeah.
Who's gone to West Ham?
Get your West Ham manager guesses in the chat. And also, if you've got any questions after we've done West Ham, just to finish off, we can quick fire through a few questions. James FPL, Planet FPL, pointing out that Christian Ziegler's back fit. He can be a good pick. He's had a good season so far with 3 assists in 6 games.
Adam France saying Moyes. Andy North saying Moyes.
Lou McCarthy. Good chat, Brendan Davis. James Alaprin, yeah, nice.
James Laprin, yeah, he was 1,000 to 1. Just behind
Moyes, Dalglish, Moyes.
So no one's got it right yet.
Someone's got it right. James Eulis, Alex Ferguson, no. Heskebo's got it right. There's others as well.
Taggart.
Yeah, it is a very inspiring, exciting, up-and-coming young manager that West Ham have appointed. It's Alex McLeish who comes in.
From Hibs.
He's done a lot of Hibs. He bought Mark Kerr, to be fair to him, and he hired Ian Munro as a scout. He sold Tom Phillips to West Ham.
Oh, hello. That screams bribe.
Corruption. So here we go. Alex McLeish is reunited with Tom Phillips at West Ham. Alistair Asher will be added as a 4.0 defender if you fancy a 4.0 risky pick.
Not at West Ham.
No. West Ham look like don't touch. Hayden Fox, 86%. He's out for a few more days. Another Aussie that could get picked up on international duty there as well. John Moncur has gone out on loan for a month to Northampton.
FPL Lions saying joke of a club, and I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. They are
They are
terrible.
a joke. They're heading down.
Di Canio, 1 match ban this week. Michael Carrick, 3 match ban this week. Stephen Bywater is wanted by Brighton's me, so ignore that. He's wanted by Dundee United, so he could be gone out of the game altogether. He's already on loan for a season, so. Right. Danny Sane is saying that he's a genius because he bought Swazi and Russell Latapy at Hibs. Latapy was one of those players who smoked 40 a day, wasn't he? And was absolute genius, I think.
I don't really remember it.
I love
really.
those players. So, yeah, there we go. Auto Reclose saying, yes, Tom Phillips to stay in my team now. Lol. Yeah, risky. Right, so that is club by club. West Ham do have quite a few Aussies in response to Sam Thomas, but I think they name their squad 2 weeks out before a game. They are 2 weeks out before the game. I think the squad will basically be named after these games, and my hunch is that they won't pick players that are injured. So I don't think they'll call up Fox. And these guys, Laurie, Garcia, Ferrante, are not international footballers. So I don't think West Ham have anything to worry about in terms of postponements. Right, any more questions before we wrap up? Obviously, there's been a lot to go through tonight. We'll try and get some tweets out with some of the key information around fixtures, especially. If you want anything on that, just probably the best thing to do is just comment on that tweet thread after I posted it. If you need extra screenshots or whatever, I can do that, and I'll be on the game a little bit tomorrow morning, so I can do that tomorrow morning as well.
Dave, before we go as well, could you just have a quick look at ref stats for me? Just on Rennie Watch.
Yeah, sure.
Just did he ref another game? That's all.
He's refed up to 7 now. He has refed some games. Should we have a little look and do an update tweet?
Yeah.
Should we do an update tweet? No red cards, unfortunately, which is a pity. Hescobo says, will the squad for Australia presumably be the same for both legs or change? I think it stays the same. They just let them play in the midweek, getting in the middle, despite it being the biggest game for 4 years.
I mean, I had a look at some sims as well for that, and Viduka was on Australia and Sydney on the Saturday, and then he went to Minsk away in the UEFA Cup before flying to Ecuador.
So he's in Minsk.
2 days later.
He's in Minsk on a Thursday night playing a game, and then Ecuador on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly right. 36 hours later.
There's Joe Cole stats for whoever's asking. We'll get through all these questions. If you want to check out now, feel free to check out. We'll just keep answering questions until they run out. Storage is at 100%. Can we see the home and away table? That's a good shout.
Oh, good shout.
Jose Vargas. So there's your home table.
1 goal conceded still. Nice.
Yeah, and Arsenal only 2 conceded.
Yeah.
And down the bottom there, West Ham still with just 1 point at home. Terrible. Right, let's have a look at the away record. There we go. Middlesbrough, Man United at the top there for the away record. The best teams. Spurs performing well away from home. And then Sunderland and Fulham still without points away from home. Bolton with only 1. Also Southampton Derby yet to win away from home.
What about some player stats as well?
For who's that, sorry? Oh, players that's you got in general.
For the whole league, yeah.
So we've got, I think I posted out the averages already. So let's have a look at assists, because that's one I didn't put out there. Dennis Wise now, 12 games, 2 goals, 6 assists, 2 man of the matches. Very good under the radar pick.
He can't keep it up, can he? You wouldn't thought
Can he? Let's see, that was a nice little teaser. There's lots of free kick goals this week. So that's racking up now. Newcastle, obviously, Robert and Solano, the main guys on that.
Interesting that Veron took the free kick over Beckham.
Yeah,
People are like, "Oh, Beckham stepping up," that kind of thing. But
yeah,
everyone took it and scored.
yeah. Andy, I've got a very small chat window open here. Are you right to have a little scroll up and make sure that I'm not missing things that are further up in the chat? This is where we're at the championship table. Sheffield Wednesday and Watford are top two. Millwall run away there.
I mean, there's some Brighton questions, but I don't know if you want to go into Brighton. How many goals has Brad Lewington said? How many goals has Zamora got?
We're doing very well, thanks, guys. So generally, we're there in the playoffs, 4 points off the top. I did bring in a couple of players. I needed a couple of players because I had such a small squad. So I brought in Kaba Diawara, very nice. Bobby Zamora. Billy
Halliway saying, what day did Chelsea play? It's today, game week 13. It's a Saturday they play.
Yeah, good shout. I also bought Rob Green because I only had about 20k to spend, and he was about 20k. Jose Vargas, how many transfers do we get the week after using free hit? You will, same as FPL, you will get one transfer after using a free hit.
Championship table for Ash in the chat.
I think I just did the championship table, so that's all good.
Sorry, I was.
If you want to see the third division as well, that's who's in the third division. Right, anything else that we need to see there? Which day do Leeds play? I'll go back to the Premier League fixtures so you can see them. Pretty much everyone plays on Saturday. The only teams that don't play on Saturday this game week is Charlton, Blackburn, Southampton and Derby. So they all get an extra day together.
Do you want to click through to the next week as well for Wednesday night? Because obviously we'll get a chance to see who winning.
Good shout. So Wednesday night we've got Villa, Borough. I'm saying it weird. We've got Villa against Borough, Blackburn against Derby, Tottenham against Chelsea. Big game Wednesday night.
Sorry, this is Saturday. This is for Saturday. Next Saturday.
Hang on a second. So this is Wednesday.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're right. Yeah, this is next Saturday. Yeah. So we've got, thanks Andy, I was getting confused myself. We've got Villa, Middlesbrough, Blackburn, Derby, Tottenham, Chelsea is a big game there. Bolton, Newcastle, Fulham, Arsenal, Ipswich, Southampton, Leeds, Charlton, Liverpool, Leicester, Man United, Everton, and Sunderland v West Ham. So what we usually do is we pick a game and you guys pick a game and we'll try and mix it up so it'll be different teams in the poll, different teams that we pick, so you get a little look at different teams in the lunchtime and tea time kickoffs. People are asking for captaincy options for this game week. What do you think, Andy? Let's get those fixtures up.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think Henry suspended, so it's tough to go that. I think you can do a cheeky punt on if you've got a Chelsea forward, like if you've got Hasselbank. I like that.
Yeah.
I think Newcastle still attack as well. Sorry.
Yeah. I think Spurs
still attack.
Even a Spurs player.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Spurs are on good form. Like you go Redruth as captain because Newcastle will come at Tottenham and Tottenham will come at Newcastle. So I can see that being as like a 3-3.
Yeah. Liverpool at West Ham is another one if you've got Fowler. I see Brad Lewington giving a shout for Fowler. Also Closer saying Shearer against Spurs. Oh, Shearer against Spurs is a good shout. You know, he's quite a widely owned player. I think he is a good possibility. I mean, an Ipswich defender, potentially. I know it's a bit boring, but there could well be returns there. Or any Arsenal player against Sunderland, I think, is a good shout.
Yeah, but, I mean, what Arsenal player have you got?
If you're free
Ashley Cole?
If I was free hitting, I would 100% captain Kanu, and I'm not joking. I would definitely do that. So,
I can get that. I can understand that.
Yeah, so Kanu or maybe Shearer, I think, is another good option.
I'm going to say, because of Newcastle, and I've seen what they're like with their formation against any team, I'm going to say Redruth in form.
Okay, yeah.
It's my captain pick, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Obviously, we have got a few games on the Sunday, but there's nothing there that looks very tasty in terms of captaincy picks.
Unless you go BT.
BT, no, I wouldn't personally go
Not for captain. You take the points regardless,
yeah. People are asking Fowler. Ooh, Brad Lewington's going for Pires. That is a real differential pick. Fair play, mate. I hope that works out for you. I really do.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's Robbie Fowler. He'll get goals, finishing 20 off the ball, 17. He's a good striker on this game. He's a bit temperamental, but he's very good. And Shearer is a goal machine. But the only thing with Shearer is obviously Newcastle really. Well, they've still got Batadas, Speed, Dyer. They've got a good squad. They'll still supply chances for him, won't they?
Yeah.
Very good. All right.
Yeah, that's cool, guys.
That's a lot, I think. thank you everyone for tuning in. Thanks for all the chat. It's lovely to have so much interaction. And yeah, good luck digesting all the news. If you need anything, we'll try and do our best. But I think it's just going to be a lot of planning and thinking, digesting content this week and see how you go.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Nice.
Cheers, guys.
All right. Cheers, everyone. I'm going to get up my thing. Not that thing. I'm going to get up the stream thing. And on that fine note, we'll say good evening all.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Night, guys.
guys.
Night, guys.
Take care.